The final week of regular season college football did not disappoint. Let's start with the two biggest rivalries that we talked about. What were the biggest rivalries? Ohio State and Michigan, and Alabama and Auburn. Unbelievable games, both of them. Let's start out with the Iron Bowl, which was honestly very surprising to me. Like, I
Yeah.
know we talk all the time about how Jordan Hare has those secrets. Whatever is in that stadium, it gets weird, especially when they play Alabama. I still thought Alabama was coming in on such a high note that they would be able to handle an Auburn team that frankly isn't good. This is not a good Auburn team. They lost to New Mexico State. You can say, oh, they were looking ahead. You can say whatever. You can come up with whatever excuse that you want for why they lost that game. They got handled by a team that they paid $1.8 million. That's not what good teams do. This is a very average, really below average Auburn team, a below average SEC team without a doubt, and they should have won the game. I mean, they completely blew the game. They muffed the punt to even give Alabama the opportunity. Then Alabama tried to throw the game the other way with that snap. I know someone was saying an Auburn player was clapping, whatever. That happens all the time. Maybe it should have been a penalty. Who cares? There were so many missed calls in this game that you couldn't point at one team getting the advantage over the other. And then the 4th and 31 play, I thought Milroe had one of his worst games as a whole compared to what we've seen in his development. He was late on some out routes. He threw some out routes that he shouldn't have thrown that against a really good corner or going the other way for 6, like we saw against Texas. He underthrew some guys in the middle of the field. He did make some great plays with his legs, but I often thought, sometimes he was looking to run too often. But that throw that he made at the end of the game, I mean, was one of the most spectacular. It will go down in college football history. It was an absolute dime. Someone will say that he pushed off. I don't care. That play is absolutely never getting called. So Auburn fans, you can go cry somewhere else. You sent 2 men and had a QB spy on the last play of the game. I have no idea how someone's in the end zone in single coverage when you have 9 guys back there. And it should have been 10 guys. If you're going to send two players and rush the passer, it should have been 10 guys back there. But I hate this sending the 2 guys. It was an Auburn team that played like they were almost shocked that they were about to win this game, and then they just picked down their leg.
Yeah, it's like a scene from a show where a guy thinks he has no chance, so it's trying to get a ball through a hole. He doesn't look on his first 2 throws, and then on the 3rd throw, he's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm about to win this game," and then looks and throws it, and then pisses down his leg. That's exactly what Auburn did. They were playing free, with nothing to lose because they had nothing to lose. And then in the waning minutes, they were like, "Oh, quick, guys, get serious. We got to get serious." And that clearly cost them. I mean, also another thing, this is not groundbreaking analysis, but sending anything less than 4 guys on any sort of Hail Mary should be a crime, because the quickest way to end the game is to sack the quarterback, not wait for him to throw the ball. So, you should always be sending 4 guys, in my opinion, at least 3, never 2. That's crazy talk. But this delivered. I mean, the Iron Bowl is so special. Auburn's a terrible football team. Hugh Freeze is, I think Hugh Freeze is going to be good for Auburn. I really do. But this was always, kind of a lost season. He's building the program back from the ground up. And Alabama is a championship caliber football team. I don't care what they showed on Saturday. They are still a championship caliber football team. I do believe that. And we got one of the best games of the season. I absolutely love rivalry week. And we got another good one up north in Michigan and Ohio State. It happened pretty much. I thought it was going to, the Michigan and Ohio State game was going to be a lot lower scoring than it was. But it happened exactly what I thought. Kyle McCord's not a good quarterback, and Michigan just out physicaled Ohio State for the 3rd year in a row. It seemed like Ryan Day kind of like, recognized the mistakes the past 2 years and really beefed up the defensive line. Their defense is still very, very good. But the fact of the matter is, it looks like Michigan's got Ohio State's number, even without Jim Harbaugh on the sideline. And I'm blanking on the intern's name, so forgive me. But that intern called a very ballsy game, whereas Ryan Day was playing or coaching not to lose, where the Michigan's interim coach was coaching to win the football game. And it took a lot of guts, especially on that stage with your championship hopes on the line, going for it on multiple 4th downs. Hell of a job by him and the Wolverines.
Yeah, I want to talk about that in the next segment. I want to stick to this Alabama game because I want to make one last point about them, and then going into this SEC championship game. I do question how they're going to fare against Bama now. There are against Georgia now. I'm sorry, like I don't care what is in that stadium. I thought Alabama looked so vulnerable against the run. I thought their defense looked piss poor compared to what it's been. I thought Milroe looked vulnerable. They're going to have to look like, I mean, when I say an entirely different team, because credit to Auburn for playing hard and Hugh Freeze getting his guys ready, and he clearly had a couple tricks up his sleeve. But I thought that was as a piss poor of a Nick Saban football performance that I've seen in a while. And I don't want to like hold anything back, because if they aren't four, and I think they can be, I still think they can be. And I don't know why they went into that game sleeping. I think that was my biggest surprise, because you knew what they were going to come at you with. I was shocked by the way they performed. I really thought Alabama was coming around, and I have to reconsider that, because I think they can be better. I've seen them be better against LSU, second half of Tennessee. But that was piss poor all the way around, from Milroe to the defense to the offense. I thought it was bad. Coming out of the break, we are going to discuss that Ohio State-Michigan game a little bit more.